Hello, I'm Tad Radzinski, one of the founders and owners of GreenCircle Certified. I serve as our company certification officer. I'm excited to talk to you today about the closed loop product certification that we're issuing for Mattoni 1.5 liter water bottles. We follow a very rigorous process when we do certification. We are compliant with ISO 17065, which is an international standard that guides certification bodies like us on how we do our certifications. One thing that we do is we basically are verifying if someone makes a claim that they are really doing what they're saying they're doing. So we have conducted a virtual site visit for verifying the water bottle collection, the water bottle processing, and then the manufacturing back into new water bottles by Mattoni. This is something that our trained certification analysts do, and it is really important that we understand not only the collection process and how the bottles are going to be recycled and recovered and then processed into new bottles, but we also do what we call chain of custody, where we verify the flow of the bottles. We have basically documentation tracking the bottles all the way through the process. We interview and review the records from the folks, the online retailer that's collecting the water bottles. And then we observe the actual recycling process where the bottles are processed into new preforms. And then we observed and witnessed the manufacturing of these bottles back into new water bottles. Very rigorous process following these international standards and our internal guidelines for closed loop product. So one thing that we do when we are verifying this is we are collecting the documentation, we're verifying the chain of custody or the flow of all the materials, and we're also doing what we call a mass balance analysis to make sure that the amount of materials that were recovered and recycled into new bottles is actually matching the number of bottles that are produced. This is a very important requirement when you're doing closed loop product certification, and it is definitely something that ensures that the claim is accurate and correct. So I'm really excited about this because if we think about it, there is a lot of materials and products that we produce in the world, especially water bottles. And as you all know, many of these water bottles end up as a waste, and it creates massive issues in terms of basically people disposing of these bottles improperly. They can end up in oceans and waterways and different things like this. And Mattoni is definitely setting a standard here for closing the loop, going to a circular economy, which I think is really critical for the way we manage our products and packaging in the future, especially bottles and plastics. So I'm really excited to see that Mattoni has started this process. They work with their online retailer to make sure the bottles are all collected after they're used by us, the consumer. They then basically have a really good arrangement with collecting all those bottles, getting them off to the recycler, and then turning them back into new bottles that are then made back into water that goes back into the market. Circular economy is going to be a really critical aspect for the future of the world because we have lots of materials on the planet. A lot of these materials go to waste, and being able to collect and recover this plastic and turn it back into water bottles in a continuous process is really the future. So I want to congratulate Mattoni for their closed loop product certification, and it's exciting to see a company like them stepping up and setting a new standard for how we manage materials in the world.